demonstrates a newer disposable spin-on full flow filter canister and the older pressure screen and magnetic drain plug types of lubrication systems. As I demonstrate, I'll point out various manufacturers' general recommendations and procedures before you attempt your own oil change. Always consult your pilot's operating handbook, your manufacturing service publications pertinent to your own aircraft. You are ultimately absolutely responsible for the airplane that you service. Periodically changing the oil and filter components of an airplane's engine prolongs its life and also dramatically reduces failures in service. Preventative maintenance can do much to limit repair bills and ensure the longevity of your power plant. Many manufacturers recommend that you change an airplane's oil every 25 hours or 4 months if it uses pressure screens, or every 50 hours or 4 months if it uses full flow spin-on cartridge types of oil filters. These are only minimal oil change intervals. Service cycles, geographic locations, local weather, or engine age may require more frequent oil changes. Now it's time to get your hands dirty. You'll want to dress appropriately unless you don't care about getting your clothes dirty. Suggestions include a pair of work coveralls or old jeans, work shoes, a baseball cap, and a pair of safety glasses. A large handkerchief, a roll of paper towels, or clean cloth will come in handy. If your skin is sensitive to oil products, use a pair of oil-resistant gloves. Otherwise, a pair of cheap cotton or oil-resistant gloves will do just fine. Now let's look at the tools and equipment that you'll need for servicing your aircraft's oil system. You will need the tools and equipment previously listed in the pricing section, as your aircraft will need to be re-safety wired if any wires removed during oil system service. Additional generic tools include a combination wrench set up to 1.5 inch, a flashlight, flat and Phillips screwdriver set, a pickup magnet, a 1/4 or 3/8 inch drive socket set with extensions, and an inspection mirror. And one very important item that every airplane repair person must have: the airplane manufacturer's repair manual or its pilot's operating handbook. Given the variety of aircraft that have been manufactured over the years, all aircraft repair people must check the airplane's repair manual or pilot's operating handbook and reference any pertinent manufacturer's service bulletin. You must do thorough research before starting any type of allowable repairs or preventive maintenance. The lubrication system contains the circulatory vessels of the engine, and the engine is the heart of your aircraft. One of your engine's worst adversaries is contaminated or dirty oil. Engine oil serves several functions. 1, it retains sludge, varnish, dirt, and other contaminants in suspension. 2, it cools internal engine areas inaccessible to external cooling means. 3, it protects internal engine parts from corrosion and rust. 4, it absorbs the shock of moving engine parts and seals the piston's rings to their cylinder walls. 5, it reduces heat caused by friction between moving components. When there is a failure of the lubrication system, the engine cannot function for more than a few minutes. Loss of oil due to leakage or the loss of oil pressure due to oil pump failure, bearing failure, or the use of improper oil is disastrous. Excessive bearing wear is caused by the contamination of the oil by dirt, metallic particles, water, fuel residues, and numerous other foreign materials. The use of filters and screens greatly increases the period for which oil can be used. Even under filtered conditions, the oil will accumulate enough dirt and other damaging agents that it must be replaced with clean oil. The first basic maintenance function is changing the oil and cleaning the screens or replacing the oil filter. The second task is the examination of the old oil filter, or screens for contamination and metallic engine particles. It is highly recommended by all aircraft engine manufacturers that the condition of the old oil pressure screens, and spin-on or cartridge types of oil filters be examined for unusual signs of contamination and metallic engine particles. Don't immediately discard these spent items without investing a few moments in their analysis. The recognition of an early adverse engine trend may save you future repair bills. Two major areas for consideration are the deposits found on the pressure screens and the deposits inside the spin-on or cartridge filter. We also examine the dissolved or suspended contaminants in the oil itself. Oil sample spectrographic analysis began in the early 1960s by the railroads to monitor the wear of their large locomotive diesel engines. Airplane oil analysis soon followed. We inject oil sample analysis here before demonstrating airplane oil change procedures, because the oil sample must be taken under certain predefined conditions. Valid samples must be collected as the oil is being drained from the engine sump, not after. Oil samples should be taken at every oil change to establish engine wear trend data over time. At least 3 oil changes should have their samples analyzed. Observation of deviations from the normal oil contaminants and the suspensions are more valid with each successive analysis. These predefined conditions include: 1. Use the same manufacturer's laboratory for all the oil change sample analysis. 2. Ensure that the laboratory always uses the same analysis method, either atomic absorption or atomic emission. 3. Run the airplane engine long enough to achieve normal oil temperature. 4. Take the oil sample within 30 minutes of the engine shutdown. 5. Use only clean oil sample containers, oil funnels, or sampling tubes for collection. 6. Allow about 1/3 of the oil to drain from the engine's oil pump before collecting a sample from here. 7. If using a sampling tube through the oil filler tube for collection, keep its end 2 to 3 inches from the sun's water. 8. Never collect an oil sample from an old oil canister filter. The laboratory's report of the oil sample analysis will state the types of suspended materials and their quantity in parts per million. The atomic emissions method can detect suspension particles 10 microns in diameter or smaller, while the atomic absorption method will detect particles 5 microns in size or smaller. The findings can be forwarded by the laboratory's personnel. As you can see in this oil analysis printout, the oil sample taken from this engine shows an unusually high copper content of 63.1 parts per million. This notation is only valid if it is compared to a series of analyses to establish the engine's overall trend. We'll also examine any deposits found on the pressure screen and inside the spin-on or cartridge filter types for metallic composition. This is accomplished after we drain the oil from the aircraft. The oil for a wet sump engine is carried in the lower portion of the engine, referred to as the engine sump or pan. To drain the old oil, ensure that you are wearing safety glasses. In order to facilitate the draining of the oil without removal of the cowlings, a special drain plug has been installed on the Lycoming engine and is used in some Cessna and Mooney airplanes. This drain plug is a spring-loaded device which permits the oil to drain from the sump when the lower portion of the plug is pushed up into the upper portion and given a partial turn. If your quick drain has safety wire, or for all drain plugs, cut only one strand of the extruding safety wire from the safety hole. If both extruding ends of the safety wire are cut, extraction of the internal piece of remaining safety wire may be very difficult. Cut the wire using diagonal side cutters and remove all the wire from the plug or quick drain fitting. Once the plug has been removed or the quick drain has been opened, allow sufficient time to drain the dirty oil into the drain pan. It is good practice to allow the residual oil to drain for an extended period of time. Remember to allow at least 1/3 of the oil to drain before collecting an oil sample for analysis. While the remaining oil is draining, the spin-on or cartridge types of oil filters can be removed. Our aircraft uses the spin-on type of oil filter. If your aircraft uses the cartridge type of filter, you must remove either a single axial bolt or 4 smaller peripheral bolts to disassemble the filter's external housing and remove the internal cartridge element. After draining the oil from the aircraft engine, the filter must be replaced with a new clean filter approved by the engine's manufacturer. Its safety wire must be cut and the oil can must either be spun off or its actual attaching bolt or peripheral bolts removed. Both filter can types resemble that of an automotive oil system. Generally use either a manufacturer's approved oil filter can wrench, a box end wrench, or an appropriate size socket to remove the oil can from its engine mount. Again, read the engine's manufacturer's repair manual or the pilot's operating handbook to determine which type of oil can is on your airplane and its proper removal. To limit oil spills when spinning off the old filter or removing the housing bolts, use either an absorbent oil pig blanket or encase the mounted oil can in a small plastic shopping bag prior to removal. Plastic grocery bags are free and readily available versus the cost of an oil pig blanket. Here is when a good supply of clean white cloths or paper towels also come in handy. After the oil can has been removed, do not discard the used oil filter without checking its internal construction for metallic particles. The filter's internal pleated element must be unfolded and thoroughly examined for evidence of internal engine damage. For the filter element examination of the spin-on type of oil can filter, the outer metal can must be cut to access the internal pleated element. Several manufacturers produce tools that are available to facilitate this chore without contaminating the filter's internal element prior to its examination. Airwolf and Champion manufacturers are two companies currently producing oil can cutters for this task. Both tool designs work on the rotary pipe or tubing cutter principle, where the cutting wheel is externally rotated around the flow end of the can until its metal exterior is sheared into two pieces. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for the oil can cutter that you use. The internal element is then extracted, unfolded, and examined for any metallic residues. Again, follow the criteria cited later in this lesson to determine if any further actions are required. Using a serrated knife, carefully cut through the element's folds at both ends close to the metal caps. Unfold the pleats and examine any residues for magnetic and non-magnetic particles. Follow the criteria cited later in this lesson to determine if any further actions are required. Our next task is to check the bottom sump scavenger screen for abnormalities and metallic deposits. To remove the scavenger screen, follow the same procedure as for the drain plug. Remove the safety wire, select the proper wrench or socket, and remove the screen by rotating counterclockwise or lefty-loosey. Generally, there will be an additional amount of oil which will drain from the engine when the scavenger screen is removed. Upon removal of the screen, it is good practice to look at the screen to see if you can detect any metallic particles on the screen. Also inspect the screen for rips or holes. If passing a small magnet over the particles on the screen attracts the particles, a serious investigation of the source of the particles must be made by a qualified mechanic. The following excerpts are from the engine manufacturers at Lycoming, a Textron company. If in doubt, immediately consult your airplane's engine manufacturer. 1. If only a few pieces are present and the magnetic material resembles short pieces of hair, while the non-magnetic material resembles shiny flakes, return the aircraft to service and recheck the screen after an additional 25 hours of runtime. 2. If there are 45 to 60 pieces of material as described in item number 1, run the engine for only 20 to 30 minutes and recheck the screen. If clear, recheck the screen after another 1 to 2 hours of flight time. If still clear, recheck the screen after an additional runtime of 10 hours. 3. If chunks of both magnetic and non-magnetic metal are the size of snapped graphite pencil points or larger, Immediately ground the aircraft and seek professional help. These are signs of piston rings, or valve failures. 4. If only non-magnetic particles about 1/16 in diameter are found resembling miniature plates with or without a copperish color, and their amount exceeds 1/4 teaspoon, immediately ground the aircraft and seek professional help. 5. If only non-magnetic particles resembling coarse sand with either a brass or a copperish color are found, and their amount exceeds 1/4 teaspoon, immediately ground the aircraft and seek professional help. 6. If any type of metal is found in an amount of 1/2 teaspoon or greater, immediately ground the aircraft and seek professional help. 7. If any one piece of metal or several pieces of metal larger than described above are found, immediately ground the aircraft and seek professional help. Remember, it's better to be safe than sorry. When in doubt, ask. Clean the scavenge oil screen with Varsol or another manufacturer-approved cleaning solvent. Depending on your aircraft design, use a new gasket, O-ring, or crush gasket on the drain plug. Ensure that the crush gasket has its asbestos side towards the engine and its metallic side towards the drain plug. When a reasonable time for all oil to drain has been permitted, the drain plug can be reinstalled or the quick drain fitting can be closed. Screw the plug into the engine by hand. Recall that a clockwise rotation will be required since the oil drain plug will be fitted with right-handed thread, or righty-tighty. Be careful not to cross-thread the plug or serious damage will result. Screw the plug against the new gasket by hand before having to tighten it with a box end wrench or socket. Tighten the plug securely to prevent any leakage according to the manufacturer's recommendations. Immediately re-safety it using the safety procedures described previously in the safety class. Some engine lubrication systems incorporate an oil cooler or radiator. Usually the cooler will have a drain plug which can be removed to prevent the removal of dirty oil which cannot escape through the engine drain plug. Never modify a drain plug without further authorization from the manufacturer. Any unauthorized modification may cause catastrophic engine failure. Proper procedures for the replacement of the clean oil filter for either the spin-on can or the bolted housing can are very similar. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for your particular oil can design. Generally, always replace any gaskets, O-rings, or washers associated with your airplane's oil can. Gaskets should be lubricated with a thin coating of Dow Corning compound, DC4, or clean engine oil to prevent installation damage. Ensure that the housing bolts or the spin-on can threads are not cross-threaded. The actual bolt type of filter element must be properly aligned inside its can prior to hand tightening. Hand tighten either can type before applying any appreciable torque. Normal torque values for the actual bolt can is from 20 to 25 foot-pounds, while the spin-on can should be torqued from 18 to 20 foot-pounds. Do not over-torque either oil can type. Carefully inspect either can type for proper seating of their base gasket. Immediately re-safety wire the oil can using the procedures previously discussed. There are two types of FM-approved aviation oil in use for general aviation system engines. These are straight mineral oil and the gaseous dispersion type. This straight mineral oil is generally only used for break-in of new or rebuilt engines and has a very limited service life. The gaseous dispersion variety is desired. Check with your engine manufacturer's maintenance manual or your pilot's operating handbook for the approved grade and weight of gaseous dispersion oil and your engine's oil capacity. Never add any non-approved oil additives to your engine without approval by the engine manufacturer. Catastrophic engine failure may result. If using approved additives, always pour a quart of oil into the empty oil sump first before the approved additive. Always check for proper oil replacement and refill the engine sump or oil tank with the proper grade and amount of oil as recommended by the manufacturer. After ensuring that the aircraft's oil was properly replaced and with no leaks, run the engine for several minutes and thoroughly monitor for proper oil pressure and temperature. Shut down the aircraft engine after only a few minutes of runtime and finally recheck the oil's quantity for any leaks with your flashlight and inspection mirror. Usually, the spin-on oil can or actual bolt attached oil can will consume about a quart of oil with the initial engine run. Correct any problems as required. The maximum allowable oil consumption limit for Textron Lycoming aircraft engines can be determined by their following formula. Check with your aircraft engine manufacturer's maximum allowable consumption oil limit when monitoring the operation of your particular aircraft. Lycoming's maximum allowable quarts of oil consumed per hour for a 4-cylinder engine is the product of 0.006 times the engine's basic horsepower times 4 cylinders, all divided by 7.4. If your Lycoming engine's oil consumption exceeds the value of this calculation, immediately seek professional help to determine the cause. For specific questions about oil changes or engine information, ask a certified A&P technician. Consult the manufacturer's maintenance manual or contact us at repairs@pia.aero for a prompt reply. After all your mechanical work is finished, you must address the cleanliness of your work area, maintain good hangar safety practices at all times, clean up any spilled oil immediately to avoid slippery floors or fire hazard conditions. Be sure to store any oily cloths in only approved fireproof storage containers. Dispose of that old oil in an environmentally safe and responsible method. Keep on stock a bag of approved oil-absorbent cleanup material. The fall or fire that you prevent could make the difference in the quality of your health for the rest of your life. After cleaning up yourself and your aircraft oil changing area, only one last FAA requirement must still be satisfied. As the pilot and owner or operator of your aircraft, you are required to fully document your preventive maintenance activities.